Alright, let's go. Alright, so let's do a quick content recap on lesson 16, okay, which was covered earlier on. Okay, so lesson 16 is the prerequisite to lesson 17, okay, on asymmetric information. So for the viewers out there, if you haven't watched that, okay, please watch it first before you watch this episode. Alright, so what was covered last week?
Information failure, adverse selection, moral hazard.
Okay, info failure. Okay, so we actually covered that info failure. There are a few categories, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the main few categories? Okay, so
Moral hazard
and
and adverse selection.
right. Okay, so there are two primary categories. Okay, so the first one will be asymmetric information. Okay, make sure you get the spelling right. Yeah, some of you still can't spell properly. Okay, and the second one will be imperfect info. Okay, so these two falls under info failure. So the practice question for last week, okay, wasn't really well done for imperfect info. Okay, a lot of students messed up for imperfect info. Okay, they got confused within externality. Right, so okay, do ping me if you're not sure or if you receive the comment of conceptual error. Okay, this is very huge. Okay, but today I won't be covering this. Okay, this has been covered in the earlier market failure series already. Alright, so what else was covered in the earlier lesson on asymmetric info?
Like what is adverse selection and what is moral hazard law?
Okay, so we have so what's the key difference between the two?
Adverse selection is from the producer withholding information. Then moral hazard is most of the time from consumer.
Is it producer only?
No, but the example is producer. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what to say.
So you can see that a situation where the seller knows more about the attribute of the good than the buyer. Vice versa. What does vice versa means?
Either way.
Either way, okay, so it's not one-sided. It's not producer to consumer. The consumer can have more attribute, okay, over the. Then in this case, okay, is I believe the example I used last week was employment market. Okay, where the employees, okay, will have more info over, okay, their working capabilities over employers. All right. Okay, so okay, so this one I just want you to pay attention. Most likely is producer having more info over the attributes over consumer, but it's not necessarily the truth. Consumer can have more info. Okay, and in the consumption of health insurance, okay, adverse selection is going to be present as well, right? Okay, the consumers have more info, okay, or unequal info over the attributes of their own health, right? Okay, and okay, this will lead to the missing market, okay, where health insurers find it okay, unprofitable to provide health insurance for everyone, knowing that okay, the healthy people will drop out of the market. Okay, I believe I covered this example last week, right? Yep. Okay, so you have to distinguish between the two. Okay, so adverse selection, we're looking at attributes. Okay, moral hazard, we are looking at a change in behavior. Okay, undertaking of unnecessary or undesirable behavior, or what we call opportunistic behavior. Of course, adverse selection and moral hazard both okay, will include opportunist behavior. Okay, but okay, in this case, okay, for moral hazard, there's a change in behavior. Okay, they will undertake more risk than they normally would. Okay, knowing that they could assign the cost to somebody else. Okay, and they will not bear the full cost. So you often see this in the example that I used last week was health insurance, right? Okay, engaging in unnecessary activities like bungee jumping. Okay, or even if you know that the if you're adequately insured, then you probably overconsume food, knowing that the insurer will take care of the insurance bill. Okay, then this will drive up production costs for insurance. Okay, and will lead to okay not profitable. So okay, the keyword that you want to relate is the concept of missing market. Missing market. Okay, so I think I'm done recapping, okay, on last week's concept. Okay, so I'm going to state briefly what is the learning objective for today. Okay, I'm going to go through the policies to equalize the information. Okay, let me do a quick amendment on my light source. Okay, I find myself look very dark. Thank you. I should look much brighter. Okay, I have an obsession to look good whenever I'm shooting. For those who know me, when I'm having one-to-one sessions with all of you, I don't really style or really don't do anything to my appearance. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. So the learning objective for today is to distinguish between adverse selection and moral hazard policies. Okay, identify which policies are there to equalize info and reduce opportunistic behaviors. Okay, differentiate between public and private solutions. So sometimes this will come in the form of the question when they ask you, what does the government do? Okay, so when the government comes into the picture, okay, you should avoid listing private sector solutions. Okay, later on, we'll be learning some private and public sector solutions. Okay, of course, you want to learn limitation. Okay, I just want to make a mental note here. At the point of shooting, okay, this is 2021. Okay, the inception of this concept was in 2017. Asymmetric information. It hasn't been tested to date. Okay, so I don't need to re-emphasize how important this is. Because it hasn't been tested at all. If not, I won't be shooting this. Okay. So with this, okay, let us look at page 50. Okay, so today we'll be primarily using page 50. Yeah. Okay, so page 50, we can see that okay, there are policies to correct info failure. Okay, asymmetric info on the left, okay, and imperfect info on the right. So today we won't be covering this. This has been covered in the earlier market failure series already. Alright, so you can see that adverse selection, okay, there are two primary policies here. Okay, signaling and screening. Okay, but this is not enough. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a more detailed acronym. Okay, you can I don't think you can copy the Soviet Union flag down. Excuse me. Okay, but okay, you realize that okay, what is the short form of the Soviet Union?
U.S.S.R.
U.S.S.R. Okay, so if you look at the book, okay, obviously there are two alphabets missing, right? Okay, which is U and R. Okay, so please pen this down. Okay, oh, you guys are very fortunate. Okay, you are going to have live classes with the author itself. Yeah, so you will get to write the latest things in the book. Yeah, I hope this book will get a reprint. Okay, I really want to include more insights that I have covered or gained from these few years of coaching. Alright, okay, so I will quickly move on to what is U.S.S.R. Okay, so obviously signaling and screening will cover the both S's, right? Okay, so what is U? Okay, what does U stands for? Alright, U stands for universal coverage. Okay, or sometimes they call it risk pooling. Wait, I have a correction. Give me a second. Okay, I'll probably show you the correction later. Okay, so now what does universal coverage stands for? I think your dad is a financial planner, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you should be very familiar with all these insurance terms, right? No,
Not yet. Not yet.
No,
No.
I thought you would, man, but maybe you can ask him a little bit more about. All right.
I know.
Sorry.
No, nothing. Nothing is okay.
All right. So universal coverage, okay, simply means that okay, there is no opt-out. They cannot opt-out. Everyone is opt-in. So remember in the earlier series, okay, we covered that for adverse selection, okay, especially in the healthcare sector, in the health insurance market. Okay, the missing market occurs when there is a attrition of the healthy consumers, right? So they're unwilling to pay the premium, the insurance premium. Okay, and you realize that the market will be adversely selected with what? Okay, will be adversely selected with unhealthy people. Okay, that will drive up the premium cost and will make providing insurance unprofitable. Therefore, the whole idea behind this is you don't get to choose. Okay, everyone must participate in the insurance. Okay, so are you familiar with statistics? Okay, you know that in a Gaussian distribution or normal distribution, okay, you realize that it's going to be not following the normal distribution. We realize that we want to avoid peak events, right? Okay, you don't want to have a concentration of unhealthy people, especially. Okay, so by including the healthy people in the pool, mandatorily, then we can reasonably assure that everyone that's covered in the insurance are reasonably healthy. Okay, so you can see that the benefits of this would include economies of scale. Okay, because when we are able to offer insurance to a wider pool of people, there are going to be more cost savings. Okay, but if the insurance pool is adversely selected with a small group of unhealthy people, not only you cannot reap economies of scale, but you are going to drive up your production costs. So far, so good. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is something like army. You don't get to choose, right? You have to go. Okay, so this is the example that I used was MediShield. We can see here covers everyone. Okay, so you don't get to choose whether you are in MediShield or not. Okay, so long as you are a Singapore citizen, you have to contribute. All right. So what is not good about this? Okay, so every policies will have limitation. So you can see that for the lower income earners, healthy people. Okay, especially for the healthy people, they will be unfairly penalized, right? Why? Because if their health is of reasonable quality, there's no need for them to buy insurance, and there's no need for them to pay insurance premium. Okay, so it's going to unfairly penalize a small group of people. Okay, and possibly going to worsen equity. Okay, especially for this group of people who are healthy, but they are low income. But it's for the greater good. Okay, everyone, you won't have a missing market. Okay, so this is universal coverage, or what I call risk pooling. Okay, is a government policy. It's implemented by the government. Clear?
Yep.
Okay, private sector cannot implement this. All right, I'm going to cover some corrections in the book. Okay, so let me move on to the book. Okay, for licensings and for licensing. Okay, this actually comes in under screening here. Okay, it's under part of screening here. It's a subset. Okay, you can just draw the arrow and place it there. Okay, so for the viewers out there, you will do the same. All right, next, I'm going to move on to the second policy. Okay, the second policy is what we call signaling. Okay, so now I want you to look at this. Are you familiar with the online shopping?
Yep.
You're familiar, right?
Yep.
Do you buy stuff there?
Not often, but sometimes.
Okay, so what do we mean by signaling? Okay, so you can see here that I have actually highlighted a few key things. Okay, so you can see that signaling comes from a position where let's say the if the consumer does not know about the attribute of this laptop. For instance, when we go to Lazada, we realize that there are going to be a lot of counterfeit products, right? Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see that the things that I've highlighted, okay, what purpose do they serve? Rating. Okay, authenticity. Okay, 15 days return. Okay, warranty. Okay, it is sold by the actual shop itself. Okay, what does it tell you?
It's legitimate.
It's legitimate. So you can see that all these signals to you that this is a genuine good, right? Okay, because of your good reputation. Then there'll be good reviews or good user feedback. Okay, you can see that 15 days return and warranty itself comes in the form of removing the risk of buying a counterfeit product, right? Okay, through a warranty. Agreed? Okay, if you are selling a fake product, would you offer a warranty?
No.
Yeah, actually you can. Okay, so okay, and in this case it distorts the signal of signaling. Okay, but whether the warranty can be used or not, okay, you can and consumers can tap onto it is another problem. Okay, so you can see that it's 100% authentic. This is a form of guarantee. Okay, they promise you that is 100% authentic. Okay, and it is sold by the actual shop itself. Okay, so you can see that all these are forms of signaling. Okay, to signal to the consumer that the quality of the good is reasonably assured. Okay, that this is a peach, it's not a lemon. Okay, remember earlier on we covered in the clip that because of lemon cars or second-hand cars that have hidden problems, okay, it's going to drive out the good quality cars, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is how you want to signal your quality of your good. Okay, so you can see that the benefits here is you have quality assurance. Normally when I buy things, I buy from sellers with a lot of review and because law of large number. Okay, if those that don't have review, I won't buy. Okay, so the cause of this is that it does not exclude lemons to sense the same signal. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Okay, you can see that. Okay, let me put here lemons. Okay, or counterfeit product can also send the same signal. So for instance, you can see that even for fake products, they can do the same. Right? Okay, but whether you want to, let's say they offer you a warranty. Okay, do you think that if you have a fake product that has cost $5, would you go through the official exchange channel, and demand the seller to refund you the good or repair or refund over $5? It's a hassle, right?
Really, yeah.
Yeah, so there's transaction costs involved. Okay, so you realize that the effectiveness of this signaling will get diluted if the lemons or the poor inferior quality products can afford to send the same signal. Personally, my favorite is this one very hard to fake. This one very, very hard to fake. Yeah, buy from those that have few hundred reviews. Okay, so is this a public or private solution?
Private.
Must be private, cannot be public, right?
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so the next one that you can see is what we call screening. Okay, so screening, in this case, the example that I used was a health insurance screening, right? So if you ask your dad, you realize that you will know that prior to admitting someone who's going to buy insurance into the insurance pool, they are likely to send the person for health screening, especially if they declare that they have some past history of smoking, alcohol consumption. Why?
To make sure they legit have it. If not, Or whether there's any extra sickness they should be aware
Right,
of.
because they fall into the issue of higher risk, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they want to ensure that the risks are properly reflected. Okay, the insurer don't want to receive insurance invoice that is going to be a hefty amount. Okay, without uncovering that this person has a high risk of alcohol consumption. Okay, so if this fella belongs to a high risk consumer who has previous health history, they are likely to what? Okay, pay a higher premium. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see that in this case when we can equalize the info through a proper screening exam, then the missing market will not occur. And insurers are going to be more rest assured to what? To provide the good. With a peace in mind. If you're higher risk, then you pay more lah. If not, your illness won't be covered. So the problem here, there's a problem here. The problem, what do you think is the problem that comes from screening? So let's say, if Dylan, I send you to, if I'm insurer, I want to ascertain that you are of reasonably good health quality before I provide you with the insurance coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is because adverse selection, I don't know whether you are because I don't know your health quality or health attributes. So the health report comes out that you got high blood cholesterol, you are a chain smoker, you are a regular alcohol consumer, your health quality is really, really bad. If I'm an insurer, if I put you into the insurance pool, I'm definitely going to lose money. No matter how much insurance premium I collect from you. How? Do you think what's going to happen to the insurer? What do you think is the rational decision that's going to be taken by the insurer?
I mean, he'll probably put me in the low risk insurance so that, if anything happens, it's on me, not on him.
Right. So this will lead to the problem of what we call cherry picking. Right? You go to market, you also pick the best fruit that you want, right? Likewise, the same illustration can be used here. Cherry picking, we can look at what? We can look at the insurer, sizing up, the consumers. If they think that this consumer belongs to a risk profile that is way too high, they can reject the consumer from buying the insurance. And this is where the universal coverage will come into the picture as a form of basic insurance. Then you see that there is no man being left behind. But for this, you realize that if you want to buy a private insurance, you are subjected to this screening. So yep. So this is a private solution to address adverse selection in the health insurance market. Clear?
Yep.
All right. Do I have time for this? Maybe let's open this Mercedes-Benz. I don't want this now, can? Agree. So we can see that this is an interesting site. Maybe I can send you the link. You can take a look yourself. And we can identify what is this. Where's the chat function? Here. Yeah, you can click on the link. Now, what is this? What is this website trying to show? Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned vehicles. So previously we learned that pre-owned vehicles, they're subjected to adverse selection, right? And the car dealers having more info than the car buyers. Then they will try to engage in opportunist activities to rip off the consumer, right?
Yeah.
So now you can see that what is the objective of this website? It's going to send you assurance that okay, that the vehicle is of a reasonable quality, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we actually showcase this? How do we actually certify that these vehicles are properly meet the minimum standard?
I mean, they got the warranty, they provide all the test drive, trade in, guaranteed mileage, general inspection, all this information. Ma.
Right. So I want you to focus on this. Okay, this is what we call screening as well. Okay, so to be more specific, okay, this is what I call certifications. Okay, so you can see that the pre-owned vehicles must meet a minimum standard. Okay, undergo rigorous inspection by trained technician. Okay, and you can see that okay, everything record verification mileage okay is that will serve as a proof that the vehicle is fully serviced and maintained by authorized dealers. Okay, so you can see that this is a form of certification. Okay, you can look at the book. Okay, the certification is certifying here, this one, minimum standards and certification over a product.
Oh.
This is how you want to use the book. All right. Okay, so what is the so the benefits of this is you realize that all the pre-owned cars they meet a minimum criteria, right? Okay, you know that they are reasonably maintained. Okay, there is a checklist to fulfill. So what is not good about this? What is the limitation of this?
Yeah. Hold on. Is it, or the consumer can choose again or something? I don't.
So now you realize that the problem of adverse selection for used car is that consumers do not know the full attribute of the used car, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, there's a missing market of high quality cars. And there's a lot of production of lemons. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we have certifications, okay, we are going to assure that the consumers that the car that they have bought, okay, they are of reasonable quality. But what is the downside of this? Number one, okay, we got to find out who issues the cert, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if it is called ABC car inspection market or car inspection firm who actually certifies the car as compared to Mercedes-Benz who certifies the pre-used car, which one is going to be of higher integrity?
Mercedes-Benz.
Definitely, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so you can see that okay, the benefits, okay, let me change them. Okay, it's going to the screening, the rigorous screening process, okay, is going to send assurance that the car is of good quality. Okay, but on the flip side, okay, the screening process or the certification process depends on the integrity, right? Okay, or the legitimacy of okay the car dealer, okay, or the producer. What kind of test is it? Has it been sent to? Okay, sometimes okay, they just probably do a simple test of checking the steering wheel, so would know. Okay, they tell you that it's a full test. So the whole idea of going through all these activities to show you the policies is to, number one, okay, point out to you that this is a public or private solution. Number two, identifying the limitations. Yeah, so public or private, this one? Private lah. All right. So the next one that I show you, remember the thing that I've mentioned to you, okay, licensing certification of people finding jobs. Okay, what kind of certifications can you get?
A-level cert.
Yes, okay, A-level cert is not a very worthy signal.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you can see that this is the example that I used was a CPA. Now, CPA is a proper form of certification for accountants, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you don't have a CPA cert, you probably are not certified to take on any accounting job, okay, or any more. Okay, I'm not accountant trainer, okay, but it's more complicated accounting jobs. Okay, so this is also one way that you want to screen uh your employees. Okay, so you can see that this market failure or adverse selection occurs in the labor market. Okay, so you can see that is the employees having more info than the employers. Okay, and the employers will therefore adopt screening process. Okay, they need you to send in the certs. Okay, to ascertain that you have attained this highest quality of education. Okay, if you have extra certs like CPA, then they will screen. Right?
Mm.
Alright, certifications also have the issue of signaling. Okay, they can also send a signal to the employer. Okay, it works both ways. Certification can be a screening tool or a signaling tool. Okay, so when you attain a mountain of certification, okay, the signal that you are going to send to the producer or the employer is what? Okay, you are a hard worker. Okay, you invest in your own education. Okay, and therefore you're going to send assurance to the employer that a reasonable assurance that you are going to perform on the job. Is it likely to be a good metrics that you are going to be a productive worker? We wouldn't know. Okay, but at least it's still a worthy signal to give a shot. Okay, so it can be illustrated both ways, signaling and screening. Okay, so you want to pick which one you want to illustrate. Okay, signaling is more to identify a job fit. Okay, whereas screening is more likely to identify a job fit. Okay, signaling is more to send a comfort. Right? Okay, so what is one downside about this policy?
Can send fixers.
Right, yeah, you saw a mothership or you see that a lot of all the so-called foreign talents, they will send a fake transcript.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a high paying job. Yeah. Okay, this one exceptionally important. Okay, this is the last R. Okay, U.S.S.R. Okay, universal coverage. We are done with signaling. We're done with screening. Okay, R. Okay, is what we call regulation. Oh, this is very important. Okay, I want you to remember this 2R framework. Okay, so before that, okay, let's look at what is Lemon Law first. Okay, so regulation is likely to be implemented by government, right? Okay, because they want to, they are the only body that can regulate. Okay, so what do they do? Okay, you can see that okay, they will implement laws to protect consumers against defective goods that fail to conform to contract or are unsatisfactory quality. Okay, you can see that such goods are known as lemons. Okay, so in this case, they are going to protect consumer interest by having law. Okay, so how does it work? Okay, so if you realize that you receive a counterfeit product, a fake product or inferior product, okay, consumers can ask business to replace or repair the defective good. Okay, you better fix that. Okay, if not, okay, I bring you to court.
Oh.
Alright, so this is implemented by K Singapore, Consumer Association of Singapore. Okay, so next time if you find that any of the goods that you purchase that is not of satisfactory, then you want to complain, you can. Okay, especially those that under deliver over promise. I hope we won't take Mr. Teo to there. Okay. Yep. Okay. So they have to replace or repair. Okay, and the consumer can also choose to keep the good and request for a reduction in price or refund. Oh, so there are 4 R's. Okay, they don't replace, repair, reduce, refund. Oh, 4R. Hey, nice, Replace, repair, reduce, refund. Okay, reduce the price or get a full refund. Alright. So you can see that there's a time frame also. Okay, the defect is found within 6 months. Then it's reasonable to assume that the defect exists at the time of delivery unless the business can prove otherwise. So you realize that when they take the producers to case, okay, then they will have to settle. It's either they are going to go through there's a court that specifically address all these disputes. Okay, and if the court cannot settle that, then they'll escalate to a higher court lah. Okay, this one I'm not very sure though. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be legal implications. Alright, so okay, what the objective of this is to protect consumer interests, right? Okay, and to hold the producers accountable for what they deliver. Okay, so what is not good or what is a limitation for this policy?
Consumer can fake that it's spoiled.
Okay. So normally it's quite reasonable to assure that consumers don't normally do this, right? Okay, so one thing that you want to look at is the transaction cost incurred. So let's say if the producer failed to replace, repair, reduce, refund, then they will have to undergo a very long arbitral process, right? They have to discuss through the court. Okay, and is it worthwhile taking the producer to the court over a 100 or 1,000 item good product?
No.
Not really, right? Okay, so these are all transaction costs involved that you want to avoid. Okay, I'm done with U.S.S.R already. Do you have any questions for U.S.S.R? If not, you can ask me later. I can think through during the break.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to cover moral hazard. Okay, moral hazard, you can look at the middle column. Okay, we have co-payment. Okay, we have monitoring. Okay, so these are the two. Alright, so I'm going to briefly cover these two. Okay, and after that, we'll have a short break and then we'll start with your time activity. Can? Alright. Okay, where's my OneNote? Here. Okay, so what is co-payment? This one I think your dad will sure know. Or deductible. Sometimes they use they will also use slash deductible.
This one is you pay a part of the insurance, right? Something like that.
Right.
Like both you and the insurance agent pay.
And the insurer will pay the rest. I think after today's lesson, you will find insurance to be so much more interesting, right?
Maybe.
Right. Yeah, so you realize that moral hazard occurs when the consumer is able to assign more of the risk to somebody else, agree? Okay, and they do not need to bear the cost. That's why they engage in risky behavior. So now, let's put yourself into the shoe. Let's say if you engage in skydiving, you know that the insurer is going to cover the full medical bill. Okay, you're going to engage more, right? But now, if you realize that you are going to be held accountable, by co-payment. Okay, so out of the, let's say the medical bill is $10,000, you have to pay 10%. Are you still likely to engage in risky behavior?
Less likely to.
Less likely to, right? So the benefits is this will promote accountability and responsibility. Okay, and less opportunistic behavior. It's all about reducing opportunist behavior. Okay, so earlier on, we see that under adverse, especially signaling and screening is about equalizing info. Okay, but for this one, it is to a little bit different. Okay, is to hold the risk taker accountable or responsible. Okay, and this will reduce your demand for I'm talking about it will reduce risk seeking behavior. Alright, so deductible is a little bit related to co-payment. Okay, so co-payment, it is strictly on a proportion basis. Okay, if we have an insurance bill of $10,000, consumer will always pay 10%. Okay, and the insurer will pay 90%. It's on a ratio basis. Deductible is slightly different. Okay, deductible simply tells you that the consumer will have to pay the first X dollars. Can be first $1,000, $2,000. Then the rest of the insurance bill is going to be borne by the insurer. Okay, they serve the same purpose of holding the consumer going to be more responsible, right? Okay, but to the producer it's slightly different, okay, because you realize that okay, I'm not going to cover the insurer perspective. You're going to ask your dad, okay, what is the difference? Because it's not to the insurer is not important to what we are learning today.
Okay.
Okay, so limitation. Any limitation here?
The amount that the consumer pay might not like defer them at all, might not dissuade them from engaging in risky behavior because maybe the cost is too low.
Okay, so it depends on it depends on the cost as well. Okay, and more importantly, you want to look out for equity. Right? Because they have to fork out out of pocket. Right? This is going to worsen your inequity. Or worsen equity. Okay, the lower income earners especially will be disproportionately affected. 10% to a lower income earner is going to be very, very much. Okay, and you realize that even though the lower income earner is not engaging in risky behavior, but they are still subjected to this, right? Then you realize that it's going to worsen inequity. Alright, the next one is what I call monitoring. Okay, under monitoring we have regulation. Okay, so the example that I used here was a fire in a factory. Okay, so you realize that certain insurers, when they sell you insurance, they'll include certain clauses. Clause means terms and condition. So one of the clause down here is, you must buy fire insurance. Right? So if you buy fire insurance, you're going to what? Okay, you're going to reasonably assure the insurer that if there's a fire that's going to be in place, all your goods will be covered by insurance. All right. Okay, so you realize that it prevents the insurance interest, by preventing moral hazard. Okay, you won't what? Okay, you won't store flammable objects in your warehouse. Okay, because you have to buy fire insurance. It's going to cost you extra. You remember when your warehouse burned down, the insurer by right have to pay in full. But if you have a fire insurance in place, the insurer can actually be covered with this extra protection that you bought. And sometimes you realize that HDB also have fire insurance. Yeah.
So this one is monitoring is basically forcing consumer to buy in insurance, is it?
Yes.
Then it dissuades them from doing the thing because
it's going to because they have to incur fire they have to incur the fire insurance bill as well. Okay, they have to buy the fire insurance. So if
they're already forced to do it, what?
Okay, this one let me take a look again. Okay, maybe I'll get back to you. Okay, I don't know why I can't recall the exact terminology of fire insurance. Okay, let me get back to you. Okay, probably after the break, I should be able to. I probably are able to recall some of why I include fire insurance. It's probably stashed somewhere in the notes as well, lah. But this one is very. This one is going to be very easy to understand, lah. Okay, so you can see that under monitoring, okay, the insurer, you realize that a lot of the moral hazard examples come from the insurer. Okay, so the insurer can actually set specific rules to prevent risky behaviors. Okay, so for instance, if your accident is due to bungee jumping, they can set a rule that any risky activities that's due to bungee jumping will not be covered. Then this will dissuade risky behaviors. Likewise, they can also set a rule. Any accidents that's caused by speeding, or lack of seatbelt, will be excluded. Then in that case, will you still engage in these activities? Nope. Because when you go to the doctor will show no, right? That you go into an accident, through bungee jumping. Then the insurer will pay out due to what the doctor mentioned. Right? But if it's already specifically mentioned that in the rules that you cannot engage in all this activity, then it will reduce risk-seeking behavior. Okay, so in this way, the insurer is able to monitor. Is able to monitor the behaviors of the consumers through the imposing of such rules. Okay, so you can see that the exclusion down here is going to prevent opportunist behavior. Okay, it's going to reduce opportunist behavior. Okay, the downside is what? What is the downside of this? You realize that monitoring also comes at a cost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can we ascertain that this is an accident or not? Okay, so if the consumer wants to dispute that, I fell down, but I was wrong. I was certified. I was certified of an accident. Or rather, sometimes the categorization of the accident or the speeding incident can be quite gray. Okay, so there could be administrative costs trying to investigate. What is the source of you getting into accident? You can talk about administrative costs of monitoring. It's the insurer's job to reject any insurance claim because every claim will hurt their profit. And it's your job to prove that that your claim is legitimate. So there's always a tussle between different interests. So sometimes some accident claims cannot be claimed one. Why? Because it doesn't meet the insurance criteria. It's quite frustrating lah. And the consumer will have to hustle with the insurer. But anyway, this is a sidetrack. So now, I want you to look at this. This is Ace Your Econs. Now, can you tell me what is this? How does this address asymmetric information? Which one does it address? Adverse selection or moral hazard?
Adverse selection.
So which policy was in place here?
Signaling.
Right. So which specific attribute is signaling?
Like it provides guarantees.
It provides assurance, reviews, right? Feedback.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a guarantee. Guarantee means I guarantee result. I don't promise result.
No.
Yeah. Well, I promise you confidence. That one I can promise. Okay. So yes. Okay. This is a form of signaling. Okay, through user feedback. All right. Okay. So with that, okay, I am done. Okay. I will just do a quick check with the fire thingy. Okay. I'm not sure why is it there in the first place. Okay. So let's go for a real short break. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Because once you're back, we'll be starting with the time prac. Yep. See you in a while.
can.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly address the fire insurance part. Okay. I have attached this under top school notes. The VJC asymmetric information can take a look. Okay, I find that their notes are pretty decent for asymmetric information. Yep. Okay, so you can look at the part about the fire insurance part. Yeah, just now I got the example wrong. Yeah. I can go all the way down and see here. This is to address moral hazard. Okay, of okay, so you realize that the example that I used just now was a fire in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so you realize that for producers, or rather the consumers who acquire the fire insurance of the warehouse. Okay, you realize that if they are adequately protected from a fire insurance, then they will put flammable product everything everywhere, right? Okay, knowing that the private insurer will pick up the bill when there's a flame. Agreed? Okay, so this is a form of monitoring as well. You can see that the government can reduce the moral hazard by enacting law to reducing behaviors. By, for instance, mandating the right of the insurer to inspect the warehouse periodically to check for fire hazard. The government can protect the credibility of the underwriting process by stiff sanctions on the insurees who misrepresent. I'm not sure what is this. I'm not in the insurance market, but I do know that if the insurer has regular rights to check the warehouse, if they have if they see that there's flammable products, or they do not follow the safety protocol to prevent flames from fire hazards from happening, then the insurer has the right to not insure the insuree. Agreed?
Yeah.
Then this is going to prevent moral hazard from happening. The insuree won't engage in risky behavior to any house/fire products. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so do take a look at this this VJC approach. I think that they're quite sound. Okay, so I'm going to move on to today's written activity. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so today is lesson 17. Okay, so yep. Okay, so this is to be done together with lesson 16. Lesson 16, for the viewers out there, if you're looking at this clip specifically, make sure you correspond to lesson 16. Okay, lesson 16 and lesson 17 are part A, part B questions. Okay, so remember, whatever problems that you identify for part A, remember to address that in part B. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a quick heads up of what's tested in part A. Alright, so for part A, we realize that I haven't opened up my script. Okay, so last week we actually covered the information failure. Okay, there are three portions. Imperfect, adverse selection, and moral hazard. Okay, these are the three. Okay, so for today, we want to address policies. Okay, one to address imperfect info, one for adverse selection, and one for moral hazard. Okay, so for imperfect info, like what I've mentioned last week, a lot of students, they got the concept of externality and info failure mixed up. Okay, so make sure you pick the example that you used last week. So for instance, if you pick underestimation of true risk of consuming cigarettes, the actual and perceived risk, right? Make sure you pick a policy that corresponds to what you have used last week. Okay, so in this case, if the example that I used was underestimation of true risk of consuming cigarette last week, then the policy that I use probably this week will be education. Okay, what kind of education? Okay, you can see that the smoking cigarette box, they educate you if you smoke too much, then you will have what? Okay, you have lung cancer. Then you want to talk about that. Okay, how does it close the information gap? Okay, of perceived and actual. Okay, and you want to talk about how it works and limitation. Okay, for adverse selection, okay, so this question does not specify government or private solutions, right? Did it? No.
No, the government. No.
Yeah. Part B.
Yes, it does.
Part B. Yes, it does. Then in that case, okay, you have to pick public solution. Okay, so not all of the U.S.S.R you can use. Okay, U and R are exceptionally good. Okay, I'm not sure about the two S's though. The two S's are normally private solutions, just how we uncovered, right?
Yep.
Okay, moral hazard. Okay, you can pick co-payment. Okay, or co-payment is very common. It could be a public or private solution. Okay, if not, you can look at monitoring.
Wait, co-payment is only considered a public solution if it's government insurance, right?
Yes, you're right. Okay,
Okay.
but from what I know, okay, the example that we used earlier on is more of a private insurer perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good example. Okay, consider monitoring of risky
Okay.
behaviors. Okay? Okay, so remember, okay, it's going to look at how it works and limitation and repeat. You need 3 policies here. Okay, for your part B. I'm so sorry I've written the part B solution on part A. Okay,
That's fine.
so make sure the example is consistent with what you have written in part A. Okay, you have written last week. Okay, so you want to reference to what you have seen last week. Okay, so I'm going to start my timer now. You have exactly 20, not calculator, I want timer, 28 minutes. Okay, I'll give you 30 lah, 30. Okay, lazy to round. 30 Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay, let's go. All right, you have about 1 minute left. All right, shall we go? Finish
Yep.
strong. All right, so this is probably the first time you're experiencing an actual content class. How any feedback?
It's okay.
It's the same. It's the same
Yeah.
as watching clips.
Yeah.
I think it's different to me. Slightly
It's
different.
better. I feel like it's better because it's in real time.
Okay, definitely. Alright. If not, we wouldn't even have it. Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, time is not going to rewind. Okay, so make full use of whatever real time class you have for now, and let's begin. Do you have your correction pen with you?
Yep.
All right. So like what I've mentioned, this question is to be covered in conjunction together with lesson 16. Okay, so please recap on lesson 16's answer key. Okay, so I advocate 111, okay, because there are three problems that was uncovered in lesson 16. So one of the biggest problem that for lesson 17, this specific question is that students they either focus excessively on imperfect info or excessively on asymmetric info, and then they don't have scope. Okay, so 111 is the safest approach here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to quickly move on. Okay, so if you do stand by the lesson 16 answer key in order to track the transition from 16 to 17, because whatever that I write here is going to be the follow up from lesson 16.
Okay.
Okay, so you have noted that there are various efficiencies mentioned in part A. Okay, so the government can adopt the following following policies such as education, okay, a regulation for adverse selection and co-payment for moral hazard. Right, so we will be looking out for the importance of these three essays. So number one, okay, education can be used to correct underestimation of true benefits. Okay, so one of the biggest issue that was mentioned in the imperfect info site for lesson 16 is that students often get underestimation of true benefits and external benefits mixed up. Okay, so external benefits means that consumer has full awareness already. Therefore, it is impossible for consumers to underestimate true external benefits. Okay, so let me repeat. You cannot state that consumers underestimate external benefits. Okay, because under externality, consumers have full awareness of everything. So the only thing that consumers will underestimate is the true benefits to oneself or the true cost to oneself.
I say they don't take into account the external benefit, but they undervalue their own personal benefit.
Yes, okay, they underestimate their own benefit or own cost.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope I have addressed two birds in one stone. Okay, so okay, so let's follow up with the earlier example. So the earlier example was consumers underestimating the true benefits of healthcare. Okay, so you can see that Okay, continuous education of the unaware public. Okay, so you can see that there is pioneer generation package. Okay, education videos to promote consumption of PGP in multiple dialects. Okay, if you're not sure, just YouTube. Okay, you can see a lot of them. In Hokkien, Cantonese, a lot of dialects. Okay, and this will close the info gap. Okay, that's assuming that you did this in part A already. Okay, you can see this. This is the unawareness gap. Okay, you can close the information gap. Okay, and you can consume at your socially optimal level QS. Okay, this should be QP lah. Well, my teeth is hurting. Alright, so a limitation of this policy, it depends on the receptiveness of target audience. Time taken to spread awareness. Okay, therefore, under consumption of healthcare may still persist in the short run. Okay, so the whole idea behind this is you have to close the info gap. Okay, if the consumers consistently underestimate the true benefits, especially elderly folks, they don't know why they want to get vaccine, what? Right? So you sing song to them, tell them that, oh, you know, in Hokkien, you take vaccine, you protect yourself, protect everyone. Then, okay, consumers will take action, especially the elderlies. Okay, next, regulation. Regulation is very straightforward. Okay, lemon law. Okay, you can set up government bodies to monitor transaction between consumers and producers and ensure there's full transparency in their transaction. Okay, so we have Case Singapore. Remember, don't spell case alone. Okay, make sure you spell it out in full. Consumer Association of Singapore. Okay, to protect consumers from defective goods sold to them. Okay, so Case Singapore. Okay, in a nutshell, I'm just going to simplify. Okay, we are going to stick to the 4R approach. Okay, you can skip this if you're not sure. Okay, this is what I did when I went to Case website and find lemon law. Okay, there's a lot more things in the Case website. Okay, but remember what's the 4R approach?
Reduce, replace,
refund, repair.
Yes.
The 4R approach. Okay, is I think we got the order wrong lah.
Yeah.
Let's get the order right one more time.
Okay.
Okay, it's either replace and repair. Okay, in the incidents that the consumer accept the defective good will be to reduce or return the defective good for refund if there are certain conditions here. So let's stick to the 4R approach. Okay, so the explanation that I have here, it differs slightly from the 4R approach. I'm going to illustrate a little bit. Okay, so you can see that the case actually offers a platform for consumers to seek compensation and explanation. Okay, the example that I used was car dealer. The car dealer is obliged to address the complaint and seek private mediation with the consumer. Okay, if the car dealer fails to respond adequately, then you go to Case website. You can see that there is a list of warning producer. Okay, the warning producers are from A to Z. Okay, luckily Ace your econs not there. A to Z. Then they will see that these are some of the collated complaints that was lodged against this producer that wasn't addressed. Then buyers beware lah. Okay, so you go to the website, you can see. Okay, so Case will flag out all these producers and flag them as and blacklist them. Okay, so if not, we stick to the 4R approach. Okay, we can force the consumers to mediate. Okay, or to replace, repair. Okay, and this will actually what? Okay, this will actually correct the problem of missing market, because there will be reasonable assurance that the producers will fix the problem. Okay, so the consumer interest will be protected. So if you can illustrate from the perspective of this, I think it's good enough. Okay, so on hindsight, I think the 4R is really good. Okay, if I were to rewrite this, I would just keep it simple 4R.
So address each one accordingly.
The first 3 R's are the most important. The last one about refund also can. Yeah. So if you look at the slide again, the first 2 R of replace and repair, okay, is the first approach. Okay, if the producer fails to do that, okay, then the consumer can choose to either refund or replace. Reduce the price or refund. Alright, so you want to emphasize on, okay, the mediation process. Okay, can be quite long. For instance, okay, if the consumer wants to refund, okay, then the producer say that, hey, maybe you did not stick within the warranty period. Maybe you used the good inappropriately. Very hard to prove, right? Whether it's a defective good. Okay, so that this ding dong is what we call transaction cost. Okay, the mediation process will take quite some time. Okay, likewise, consumers are unlikely to turn to government bodies. Okay, if the ticket item is relatively small, $5, would you go to case?
No.
Yeah. All right. Okay, co-payment. Okay, just now we did discuss that co-payment is more likely to be a private solution, but co-payment can also be enforced by the government. Okay, there's no very clear signal. Okay, but if I were to rewrite this, I probably find that monitoring could be better. Okay, so I'd like you guys to look out for the VJC attachment that I've put in the website. Okay, not on the portal. Okay, it's called VJC Asymmetric Information. Then you can see more of the public-private solutions there. Oh. Okay, so the idea behind this is for co-payment. Okay, is to ensure that the percentage of the insured loss is going to be shared between both insurer and insuree. Sharing part is very important. Okay, because you're going to hold consumers accountable for accidents that's involved or risky behaviors involved. Okay, and reduce risk-seeking behavior. Okay, so there's one very important sentence to include. The price of your healthcare is no longer zero. If price is zero, then there will be a buffet syndrome of overconsumption. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
So if price is no longer zero, it is a positive value, then you have to think through first before you want to incur the cost of healthcare. Right? Because you can no longer claim from the insurer. You cannot claim the full amount, or claim half of the amount, or probably 10% of the amount. Okay, so this will reduce the size and frequency of insurance claim. If you want to use deductible, also can. Okay, a limitation. However, the co-payment may disincentivize and penalize lower income earners, okay, leading to inequitable outcome. Okay, they are forced to consume healthcare insurance at a higher cost due to co-payment. Even though they don't take excessive risks, they are unfairly penalized. Okay, so this may potentially lead to underconsumption for lower income families. Right, 10% okay, may be okay for you and me, but not for the lower income earners, right? All right, let's build a stand. Okay, overall, the choice of the policy depends on the nature of the country. Okay, so for well-developed countries, citizens are generally more aware. Okay, so the emphasis can probably be less emphasized on imperfect info, okay, and more on asymmetric information. Okay, likewise, for adverse selection, you can see that regulation such as setting up government bodies does not only serve as a regulation body, okay, but it also serves a dual purpose. Okay, maybe I'll explain dual purpose in a while, but you probably want to emphasize on this regulation. Why? Okay, because it actually sends a positive signal to the producer, okay, that the government takes a serious view of selling defective products. Okay, and they want the providers to think twice before selling, okay, defective goods. Okay, likewise, okay, we can see that even though co-payment, okay, is likely to worsen, okay, the outcome for lower income earners. Okay, but the government can mitigate the cost or mitigate the risk, okay, by identifying the lower income earners. okay, and get them fully insured. Okay, put them in a get them insured in Medifund. And Medifund is an insurance that's only accessible to low income family. Okay, so you can look through the examiner's report. Okay, so to solve ignorance, imperfect info, and unawareness, okay, only education can solve the root problem. Okay, tax and subsidy does not address info failure or imperfect info. Tax and subsidy always only address externality, so don't propose the wrong thing. Okay, so make sure you choose the correct public policy. Okay, don't choose private policy here because keyword here is government. Okay, so things like warranty and reviews don't really work for government. Oh, all right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Okay, so we have covered asymmetric information. Oh, can you hear my dog?
It's okay.
Annoying when I'm shooting the clip. Yeah. I'll probably put her on muzzle whenever I want to shoot a clip. Alright, okay, so to quickly wrap up, okay, asymmetric information hasn't been tested before. Right, so please emphasize on this, okay, during your revision. So with that, okay, I'm going to stop recording. Okay, if you have any questions for me, please get in touch with me privately. Okay, if not, I wish you all the best for asymmetric information.